Afoke was not an ordinary man. At 26, he lived in the busy town of Lagos, but he had a secret power. He could see what others often missed. Not with his eyes, because Afoke was blind, but with his mind, his heart, and his words. People admired him for his wisdom, his talent, and his calm presence, yet some whispered, if only he could see. He walked the streets with a white cane, every step confident and careful. Cars honked, footsteps echoed, and voices called out, but Afoke moved as if he had a map in his mind. He could recognize people by their voice, the rhythm of their steps, even the way they laughed. Afoke loved words more than anything. He wrote poems that made people cry, smile, and think. He spoke in public halls, inspiring young and old alike. People came to him for advice about life, work, and love. And Afoke always spoke the truth, even when it was hard to hear. Yet, behind his calm and brilliant exterior, Afoke sometimes felt lonely. People admired him, but few truly saw him. They saw the blindness, not the heart. He longed for someone who would understand him, not as a blind man, but as Afoke, a person with dreams, laughter, and a gentle soul. Every day, Afoke worked on himself. He learned, he wrote, he guided others. But he also quietly hoped for a companion, a friend, a listener, a heart that would see him for who he really was. And little did he know that someone was about to appear, someone who would change the rhythm of his heart forever. It was a warm afternoon in Lagos, and a crowd had gathered at a small town hall for a public lecture. People were buzzing with curiosity. Afoke, 26, stood on the stage, braille notebook in one hand, his other hand moving gently as he spoke. His voice was calm, yet commanding. Though he could not see the audience, his words painted pictures in the minds of those listening, about courage, dreams, and the power of the heart. Lisa, 24, had come out of curiosity. She had heard about Afoke, a blind man who inspired people, wrote poems, and gave advice that touched the soul. But she had no idea what to expect. From the moment he began speaking, she was captivated. His voice carried warmth, honesty, and a quiet strength that made her lean forward in her seat. She rested her hand lightly on her chest, completely absorbed. Around her, some people whispered or clapped politely. Others checked their phones or chatted quietly. But Lisa could not look away, or rather, she could not stop listening. She felt like he was speaking to her directly, each word settling deep in her heart. By the end of the lecture, tears had gathered in her eyes. She wanted to meet him, not because he was blind, not because of his fame, but because his words had touched something inside her. Most of the audience rushed past, eager to ask questions or shake his hand. Lisa lingered. When she finally approached, Afoke sensed her presence. He smiled softly, his calm voice greeting her. "Hello," he said. Lisa's nervous smile returned. "Hi. I wanted to say, your words, they were incredible." Afoke laughed lightly. "Thank you. Most people clap and leave, but you stayed. That means a lot." They walked out together, and Lisa guided him carefully through the crowd. Afoke trusted her completely, sensing her gentle energy. Later, they stopped at a small cafe nearby. Lisa ordered drinks and a pastry for them both. They talked for hours, about books, dreams, and the small joys of life. Lisa read poems aloud, and Afoke shared his own work. They laughed over stories from their childhood and teased each other playfully. In the following weeks, Lisa began visiting him regularly. Sometimes, she came to his modest home, helping him with small chores, preparing meals, arranging his books, and even washing a few dishes. Afoke appreciated her care, but he never felt pitied. He could sense her genuine desire to spend time with him, to understand him, and to share in his world. Walking through Lagos streets together became another adventure. Lisa guided him carefully, speaking softly about obstacles ahead, and Afoke trusted her fully. Cars honked, street vendors called out, and pedestrians jostled past, but in her presence, Afoke felt calm, safe, and alive. Society, however, did not remain quiet. People whispered as they saw the two together. "Why is she spending so much time with a blind man?" some asked. "She could have anyone she wants." Lisa heard them but ignored the remarks. Her heart knew the truth. Afoke was kind, smart, and wise. One evening, after a visit to his home, they shared a simple meal together. Afoke reached for her hand. "Lisa," he said softly, "people will always talk. But what matters is what is in your heart." Lisa smiled and squeezed his hand. "I know, Afoke. I care about you, not what they think. You matter to me." From that day, their bond grew stronger. Laughter, shared meals, walks through busy streets, quiet talks at home, reading together in cafes, every ordinary moment became extraordinary. Though the world whispered doubts, Lisa and Afoke began to feel a connection neither could ignore. A friendship was blossoming into something deeper, a quiet love that did not yet need words, but spoke through every glance, laugh, and shared heartbeat. Lisa couldn't stop thinking about Afoke after the lecture. She had never met anyone like him before. His voice, his words, and the way he saw the world without seeing it with his eyes, it fascinated her. She wanted to know him better, to understand him, to be part of his world. She started visiting him regularly. At first, it was small gestures, reading a book aloud for him at the library, guiding him safely across busy streets, or sitting quietly in the cafe, sharing a soft drink. Every moment felt special. Every conversation felt alive. Afoke, too, noticed her presence. He felt it the moment she walked in. Her laughter, her voice, the gentle way she moved around him, it brought warmth he had never felt. He had people who admired him before, but Lisa was different. She didn't pity him. She didn't treat him like a blind man. She treated him like a person, a friend, a companion. Their friendship grew quietly, almost secretly. They laughed together at silly jokes, shared stories of their dreams, and even argued playfully over little things. The world outside, the whispers, the judgments, did not matter when they were together. But not everyone understood. People whispered when they saw them walking together. "Why does she spend so much time with a blind man?" neighbors asked. "She could have anyone she wants." Lisa heard them, sometimes shaking her head at their ignorance, but she didn't care. She knew what she felt in her heart. Afoke was kind, wise, and truly remarkable. No one can change that. And in that quiet, simple moment, something deeper began to grow, a connection neither of them could ignore, a bond that whispered of love without needing words. Lisa's heart had grown quietly, but firmly, around Afoke. Every visit, every laugh, every shared moment made her feel a warmth she had never known before. She loved the way his voice sounded when he read his poems aloud, the gentle way he guided himself through life, and the quiet strength that seemed to radiate from him. But love, even quietly growing, never exists without challenges. People in town whispered when they saw Lisa with Afoke. Friends teased her, neighbors shook their heads, and even family members questioned her choices. "Lisa, why do you waste your time with a blind man?" her sister Joy asked one afternoon, her voice sharp but concerned. "You are young, beautiful, and smart. He can't see the world like you do. How will he protect you?" Lisa's chest tightened, but she looked her sister in the eyes. "Joy," she said softly, "he may not see with his eyes, but he sees more than anyone else. He sees me, really me. And that matters more than what anyone else thinks." Afoke knew of the whispers, the doubts, the questions. Sometimes, at home, he would reach for Lisa's hand and say, "People will always talk, Lisa. But their words cannot touch what is real between us." And real it was. Lisa found herself cooking with him, teaching him small tricks in the kitchen, laughing when they spilled a little soup or when the washing took longer than expected. She guided him through chores, and he would gently laugh at her careful instructions. Every shared task became a moment of intimacy, a secret language of trust and care. Even walking through busy streets became an adventure. Lisa's hand in his, her voice guiding him gently, she felt her heart swell each time he trusted her completely. And Afoke, sensing her warmth and laughter, felt a love he had never dared to hope for. One evening, after a day filled with shared smiles, jokes, and quiet talks, Afoke's voice lowered. "Lisa, I may not see the world like others, but with you, I feel it all. I feel laughter, joy, and love." Lisa's heart skipped. She leaned closer, brushing her fingers gently over his hand. "Afoke, I feel it too," she whispered. "Every moment, every laugh, my heart is yours." In that simple, quiet room, surrounded by the everyday sounds of home, their hearts spoke louder than words. Outside, the world whispered and judged, but inside, there was only warmth, laughter, and the gentle pull of two souls discovering that love does not need eyes, it only needs hearts willing to see. From that moment, their bond deepened. Every glance, every smile, every small touch carried meaning. They didn't need to say everything, their hearts understood. And even as whispers of judgment floated outside their safe space, Afoke and Lisa knew one truth: their love was real, and nothing could take it away. One bright morning, Afoke sat across from Lisa in his modest living room, holding his phone carefully in one hand. His calm eyes reflected both excitement and a quiet nervousness he rarely showed. Lisa noticed the slight tremor in his fingers as he held it, and her heart stirred with both affection and concern. "Lisa," he said, his voice steady but warm, "I have news, important news. I've been awarded a scholarship to study abroad." Lisa froze. "Abroad? Afoke, that's incredible." Her voice shook, a mix of excitement, disbelief, and fear. She wanted to jump, hug him, and cheer, but the reality of being separated from him made her chest tighten. "Yes," Afoke continued, "it's a great opportunity, a chance to grow, learn, and share my knowledge in ways I never could hear. But it also means I'll be away for a while. Months, maybe even a year or more." His fingers brushed hers lightly, offering reassurance. "I want us to stay close, Lisa. Phone calls, video chats, messages, distance cannot weaken what we have." Lisa swallowed hard, fighting back tears. "I'll support you, Afoke. Every step of the way. We'll manage together." The following weeks were filled with quiet preparation. Afoke packed carefully, books, braille notebooks, essential items, and Lisa helped him organize his home. Long evenings were spent talking about dreams, imagining the future, and laughing at memories they shared. The thought of being apart made each moment feel both precious and fleeting. Finally, the day arrived. At the airport, Lisa clutched his hands tightly. "Promise me you'll call every day," she whispered, her voice breaking slightly. "I promise," Afoke said, smiling despite the weight in his eyes. "Distance cannot weaken what we have. I'll be with you in every way I can." Once Afoke left, the apartment felt unevenly quiet. The walls seemed empty, the rooms larger than before. Lisa missed him fiercely. Then, a few weeks later, subtle changes in her body made her suspect something was happening. A visit to the clinic confirmed it: she was pregnant. Her heart raced, a mix of joy, fear, and anticipation. She would soon bring a part of Afoke into the world, even while he was far away. Without hesitation, she called him. "Afoke," she said, her voice trembling, I'm pregnant." There was a brief pause on the other end of the line. Then his warm, calm voice came through. "Lisa, really? That's wonderful. Our child, we're going to be parents." Tears welled up in her eyes. I wish you were here," she whispered. "I know," Afoke said softly. "But I am with you in every way I can be. We'll face this together. I'll guide you, support you, and soon, we'll be together again. Our child will know love, even across this distance." But life outside their bubble of love was not so kind. Friends who had once been close began to drift away. Some whispered behind her back. "Why is she waiting for a blind man's child?" they murmured. "She could have anyone she wants." Even her family expressed concern, and sometimes outright judgment. One afternoon, her mother confronted her, brows furrowed with worry. "Lisa, are you sure about this?" she asked. "A blind man, and now carrying his child. People will talk. How will you manage? How will you protect yourself?" Lisa rested her hand on her growing belly. "Mom, Afoke is more than you see. He's kind, smart, and strong in ways you cannot understand. I trust him." Her father, sitting nearby, shook his head. "Lisa, listen to us. This is not a small thing. We raised you well. We want what's best for you. How will people look at you?" Lisa took a deep breath. "I know you care, and I love you. But this is my life, my choice. I am choosing love, even if others don't understand." Days went on, but the pressure didn't stop. Her friends sometimes laughed cruelly behind her back, whispering in public spaces. One day, while Lisa was carrying groceries from the market, a nosy neighbor confronted her directly. Well, Lisa," the neighbor said, arms crossed, voice loud enough for others to hear. "Carrying a blind man's child, huh? Do you know how people are talking? You could have chosen anyone, but no, you go for the blind one. Really, girl? I don't understand you." Lisa paused, took a deep breath, and looked the woman straight in the eyes. "I understand myself, Ma. And that's what matters." Even with this constant pressure, Lisa found comfort in Afoke's phone calls. Every evening, he would call to check on her, ask about her health, their child, and offer gentle advice about the future. Sometimes they video chatted, laughing, teasing, sharing stories, and planning the little things they could do when he returned. "Our child will know the world through love," Afoke said one evening over the call, his voice soft but firm. "Keep smiling, Lisa. We are stronger than the whispers, the judgment, and the doubts around us." Lisa smiled, tears welling. "I feel it, Afoke. I can feel your love. Even across miles. I promise I'll be strong until you come back." Life continued, but not without its challenges. Neighbors whispered when she walked alone, carrying baby items or groceries. "She's waiting for a blind man's child," they murmured. At work, some coworkers stared or whispered quietly, judgment in their eyes. Lisa held her head high. Afoke's blindness did not define him. His courage, intelligence, and love did. Their child would inherit that same strength and unwavering love. Lisa often laughed softly, despite the fatigue and pressure around her. "We are fine, Afoke. You don't need to worry so much." "You know I will," he said, voice filled with affection. I may be blind, but I see everything in my heart. And I see you, Lisa. You're amazing. Don't ever forget that. Days turned into weeks, and Lisa began preparing for their child with quiet courage and hope. She arranged a small corner of her home with soft blankets, books, and toys. She read stories aloud to her unborn child, imagining Afoke's reactions, his gentle instructions, and playful guidance. Even amidst Lagos's noise, whispers, and judgment, love filled her apartment. Through phone calls, video chats, and shared memories, Afoke remained part of every heartbeat, every meal, and every preparation for their little one. Lisa smiled, her hands on her belly. Strength, hope, and love surged through her. She knew the road ahead would not be easy. The whispers, judgment, and doubts of friends, family, and neighbors could not shake the foundation they had built. Afoke's presence, even through a screen, reminded her that their love was stronger than anything. And so, Lisa faced each day with courage, preparing for a life filled with love, hope, and joy. Afoke's heart was always with her, guiding, comforting, and sharing in every moment. Their story, tested by distance, judgment, and fear, continued to grow stronger. Through phone calls, video chats, and shared dreams, they remained connected, ready for the day they would finally be together again. And Lisa, carrying their child, felt more certain than ever that love, true love, could overcome distance, doubts, and society's whispers. The airplane wheels screeched against the runway, and Afoke's heart raced. Months abroad had tested him, long hours of study, sleepless nights, and the ache of being away from Lisa, but now, finally, he was coming home. The thought of seeing her, of holding her again, filled him with a nervous excitement he hadn't felt in years. At the arrival's gate, Lisa waited, her hands clasped tightly, her eyes scanning every face. She felt her heart pound faster with every step closer she thought he might be. And then she heard it, his soft voice calling her name, Lisa. Tears immediately filled her eyes as she ran toward him. Afoke's arms opened instinctively, embracing her. "I'm here," he whispered into her hair. "I'm finally home." Lisa clung to him, laughing and crying at the same time. "I missed you so much." "I missed you too," Afoke replied, pulling back slightly to look at her face. "Every day away, I felt your presence with me. Your love, it carried me through." The crowd of travelers faded into the background. There was only them, two hearts reconnecting after months of longing. Afoke reached out, his hand brushing hers gently. "And now," he continued softly, "I want nothing more than to spend every day with you, to build our family together, and to marry you." Lisa froze for a moment, her breath catching. Then, with a radiant smile, she whispered, "Yes, Afoke. Yes. I've dreamed of this moment every day." They laughed, cried, and held each other close. Afoke guided Lisa gently out of the airport, their steps in sync, as if the months apart had only made their bond stronger. Whispers followed them, curious glances, judgments, but they didn't care. Love had silenced every doubt, every fear, every criticism. That evening, back at Lisa's apartment, Afoke and Lisa shared a quiet, intimate dinner. Afoke laughed softly as he tried to pour juice, spilling a little on the tablecloth. Lisa giggled, helping him clean it up. "You may be brilliant, Afoke," she teased, "but you still need me for the small things." He smiled, brushing his fingers over hers. "And I wouldn't want it any other way. You make everything better, more meaningful. You've been my anchor, Lisa." After dinner, Afoke took her hands and knelt on one knee. "Lisa, you believed in me when others doubted. You loved me when the world whispered against us. You stood by me through distance, challenges, and fear. Will you marry me, here and now, and be my partner forever?" Lisa's tears fell freely as she nodded. "Yes, Afoke. I will. I love you so much." The proposal wasn't grand or flashy. There were no crowds, no extravagant ring. But it was perfect. It was real, intimate, and a culmination of everything they had shared, the laughter, the tears, the whispered phone calls across continents, and the quiet, unwavering love that had grown stronger each day. The next few weeks were filled with excitement and preparation. Together, they planned a small, meaningful wedding. Friends who had doubted them slowly returned, touched by their unwavering love and commitment. Lisa's parents, once skeptical, watched their daughter's happiness bloom and realized that Afoke's blindness did not define him, his heart and character did. On the day of the wedding, Lisa walked down a simple aisle, her eyes fixed on Afoke. He stood tall, confident, and radiant, his hand brushing lightly over the white cane beside him. Every guest felt the electricity between them, the bond that distance, doubt, and whispers could not break. Afoke took Lisa's hands in his, smiling through tears. "I promise to love you every day, to stand by you through every challenge, and to cherish the life we build together." Lisa squeezed his hands tightly. "And I promise to love you, to support you, and to share every joy and every sorrow with you, Afoke. Together, we are stronger than anything." When the officiant declared them husband and wife, the room erupted in applause. But Afoke and Lisa barely noticed. They were caught in the warmth of each other's embrace, hearts beating in sync, eyes locked with unspoken words of love, gratitude, and promise. Later, under the soft glow of evening lights, they stepped outside. Afoke gently held Lisa close, one hand brushing over her hair, the other holding hers. "We've come so far," he whispered. "From whispers and doubts to this, our own world." Lisa rested her head on his shoulder. "And it's just the beginning," she said softly. "Our family, our child, our life together, it's all ahead of us. And I can't wait to face it with you." Afoke kissed her forehead gently. "With you, everything is brighter, Lisa. I may be blind, but with you, I see everything that matters. Our love, it's our vision." And in that quiet, perfect moment, the world around them, the bustling city, the curious eyes, the whispers of judgment, faded away. There was only love, laughter, and the promise of a future they would build together. A life of joy, shared dreams, and the family they had longed for, now beginning in earnest. After their wedding, Afoke and Lisa finally set out on their long-awaited journey. With their first child nestled in Lisa's arms, they boarded the plane to Canada, leaving behind the whispers, doubts, and judgments of home. This move was more than just travel, it was the start of a life they had dreamed of, free, full of love, and brimming with new opportunities. Landing in a bustling Canadian city, Lisa felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Everything was new, the streets, the buildings, the people, but Afoke's presence beside her was grounding. Even though he could not see, he navigated with confidence, guided by her voice, the city's sounds, and his sharp mind. The first weeks were full of discovery. Afoke quickly adapted, learning the city's rhythm and seeking opportunities for his talents. His intelligence and dedication earned him respect, and he secured a good job. Lisa settled into their home with joy, arranging a warm and welcoming space for their child, exploring the city, and slowly building a supportive circle of friends. Evenings became their favorite time. Lisa read books aloud while Afoke listened intently. They laughed over poems, shared memories, and talked about dreams for the future. Their child absorbed the love and warmth around them, growing up in a home filled with laughter and care. Months later, Lisa discovered she was pregnant again. The news brought tears and laughter. Afoke placed his hands gently on her belly. "Another little one," he whispered. "Our family is growing, Lisa, our love in motion." Pregnancy brought them even closer. They prepared together for the new arrival, laughed over baby names, and shared the simple tasks of daily life, shopping, cooking, arranging the nursery, turning each moment into an expression of care and intimacy. Their community in Canada was welcoming. Afoke's colleagues admired him for his wisdom and brilliance, not pity. Lisa made friends who respected her choices and strength. Slowly, the shadows of past judgments faded, replaced by support, encouragement, and love. When their second child, a healthy baby boy, was born, Afoke held him gently. "You are perfect, just like your sister and your mother," he whispered. Lisa watched, heart full, as their family embraced this new chapter together. Evenings were now filled with storytelling, laughter, and quiet moments of connection. Afoke, though blind, felt every bit of love around him, the laughter of their children, Lisa's soothing voice, and the warmth of their home. One evening, on the balcony overlooking the city lights, Afoke took Lisa's hand. "Look at what we've built," he said softly. "A family, a home, a life that's ours." Lisa rested her head on his shoulder. "And it's only the beginning. Together, anything is possible." Afoke kissed her forehead gently. "True vision comes from the heart. With you, I see everything that matters, our love, our family, and our life ahead." In Canada, far from doubts and whispers, Afoke and Lisa's love grew stronger. Hand in hand, heart to heart, they embraced their new life, building a story of courage, devotion, and happiness that would last for generations. The end.
This is Progressive Folktale. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this very captivating story. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon so as to be notified whenever we upload a new video. Join our membership so you will always be the first to get notified whenever we make any uploads. And we've uploaded more love stories specially created for our membership subscribers only. Check the description box to join now so you don't miss out. Furthermore, please support us by using the super thanks icon in between remix and download icon down below. Lastly, rate this story on a scale of 1 to 10. And don't forget to tell me where you're watching this video from. I am going to see you in another video. Bye bye.